Alright, we are almost done with our slew of lessons. We've just got a few more left. I want to formally cover something that I've used a few times and I've kind of brushed up against, but I never did a full video on it, and I'd like to do one now, which is f-strings. So there's going to be a new file. I'm just going to call it fstring.py. And I want to explain exactly what an f-string is. So a regular string we've seen before, right? And we just write open and close brackets. This is a string. Nothing to it, nothing fancy, just a string, and if I want to assign it to some variable, I do that. Now, if I want to print it out, I just go print, and I use the variable name, and I run my code, and print out the string. Now, what happens if I want to add something else to my string? For example, if I have a equals 4 times 5, oops, sorry, not minus equals, a equals 4 times 5, and then b equals the value of a is, and then I want to add the value of a to my string. So if I just do plus a, this is not going to work, right? If I run this code, I get back an error because we can't use a plus symbol between a string and a number. What can I do? One thing I can do is I can convert a to a string. So now I can go a, the value of a is string. That's kind of, okay, great, that works, right? And then if I just go print b, I mean, it works. It's not super elegant, especially if instead of doing that, if you remember, if we go back to the car example here, where my print statement has 4 variables in it and I want to put some words in between each variable, if I'm using that little plus, it can get really ugly really quickly. So we are going to use something called an f-string. An f-string is just, we put the letter f at the front, and that says, hey, this is a format string, which means whenever I write squiggly brackets in this string, that squiggly bracket says, hey, code goes in here. So if I put an a in there, now all of a sudden it's like, hey, take whatever this is and convert it to a string and add it to the rest of my string. So now if I run b again, nothing changes in, sorry, if I run the code again, nothing changed in the result, right? It's still saying, hey, the value of a is 20. But the difference now is that we're actually able to run some code in here. Now notice that this is just, I'm using a variable name, but I can actually do something more than that, right? I can say a times 3, and I can run this. And now it's showing 60. Why? Because anything in these squiggly brackets, if I put an f at the front of the string, anything in the squiggly brackets runs like it's code and gets evaluated as such, and then the end result is printed out. So if I were doing some sort of puzzle, something more elaborate, I would say, hey, run this function, and this function would like run my whole project and then print out the end result, and just really quickly print out the end result. And we'll maybe come across examples of it later, but I just wanted to very quickly cover, hey, that's an f-string, that's what it does. It lets us put code inside squiggly brackets just because I would put a little f at the front of it. Everything else, then the only difference is that any code inside squiggly brackets runs like code. The rest of it, though, it's exactly like a regular string. It behaves the same way. Anything you expect a regular string to do, it can do. Anything you expect a regular string can't do, it can't do. So for example, if I do the plus a over here and I run this, I get the same error. We can't add a string to an int. Sorry, we can't add an int to a string. Them's the rules. Right, so those are f-strings. If you have any questions, please let me know.